Tupac's death turned the entire rap industry upside down. After his death, everyone had something to say about how he passed. But the most insane thing is that it's not until now, that 27 years have gone by, that the truth is finally starting to be revealed. And Snoop Dogg managed to get himself entangled in the whole situation, with everyone saying he had a role to play in Tupac's death. Keep watching till the end of this video to see just in. Feds arrest Snoop Dogg for allegedly helping kill Tupac. Trust me, you don't want to miss this.
Before we get into the video, I want to give a quick shout out to the #1 celebrity jeweler, the Ice Champ. The Ice Champ is doing a special deal for the next 24 hours on diamond watches, chains, and more. Follow at the Ice Champ on Instagram now.
Tupac's death. On the night of September 7, 1996, Tupac was in Las Vegas, Nevada to celebrate his business partner, Tracy Daniel Robinson's birthday, and to attend the Bruce Seldon vs. Mike Tyson boxing match with Suge Knight at the MGM Grand Casino. In the lobby where the match was being held, someone in their group spotted Orlando Baby Lane Anderson, a Southside Compton Crip. The individual who spotted him accused him of accosting him in a shopping mall and trying to snatch his chain with a Death Row Records medallion on it. Apparently, Baby Lane got the beating of his life that evening. Tupac then headed to his hotel room, changed into fresh clothes, and then headed with Knight to his Death Row nightclub 662 in a black BMW 750iL sedan as part of the larger convoy. At about 11 p.m. on Las Vegas Boulevard, bicycle-mounted police stopped the BMW for its loud music and lack of license plates. The plates were found in the trunk and the car was released without a ticket. A few minutes later, at about 11:15 p.m., a white four-door late-model Cadillac sedan pulled up to the passenger side of the BMW. A hand popped out of the car window and shots were rapidly fired into the car. Tupac was struck 4 times, once in the arm, once in the thigh, and twice in the chest, with one bullet entering his right lung. Shards hit Knight's head, leaving him wounded. Despite his injuries, Knight drove Tupac and himself a mile from the crime scene to Las Vegas Boulevard and Harmon Avenue. Tupac was taken to the University Medical Center of Southern Nevada, where he was heavily sedated and put onto life support. Tupac died of respiratory failure that followed a cardiac arrest due to the removal of his right lung while in the critical care unit on the afternoon of Friday, September 13, 1996. Doctors tried to resuscitate him but were unable to halt the bleeding. At 4:03 p.m., he was pronounced dead. Snoop Dogg speaks about his hate for Suge Knight. For a long time, Snoop Dogg and Suge Knight were unable to tolerate each other's presence. Though Snoop Dogg was signed to Death Row Records, which was managed by Suge Knight, they were always having misunderstandings, which eventually led to a beef that lasted for years. Snoop Dogg eventually shed some light on how the long-lasting beef came to an end. In an interview back in 2016 on The Breakfast Club, Snoop Dogg spoke about how he and Suge Knight had squashed their beef that had gone on for years. In the interview, when he was asked how things were with him and Knight, he got an irritated expression on his face and said, "We real cool. We had a long 3-4 hour conversation one time. When I seen him, I was kind of slipping, doing what I wasn't supposed to be doing, and he slid up behind me, and instead of me reacting the wrong way, I just went into my regular mode. And I'm gonna lay up Boo to the side, and me and you can go upstairs and meet. And we got caught up on some real love." In another interview with Big Boy on his Big Boy's Neighborhood podcast, Snoop Dogg unexpectedly gave his former boss Suge Knight his flowers, praising him for changing his life by signing him to Death Row Records. On the podcast, Snoop Dogg explained that he and Suge Knight could never really agree on anything. Most of the decisions were made by Knight, and everyone else was bullied into conforming to those decisions. Snoop added that Tupac was the only one Suge Knight didn't bully into doing things, and that got the Dogfather really angry. He blamed Knight for his not-so-friendly relationship with Tupac. He also explained that if someone else had been running things at Death Row Records, things would have been smoother between him and Tupac before his death. He also emphasized the fact that he was really happy with himself for patching things up with Tupac just before he died. Snoop Dogg talks about his final moment with Tupac. Tupac and Snoop Dogg were great friends from the West Coast rap scene. During the 2012 Coachella Festival, Snoop got his wish to perform one more time with Tupac thanks to state-of-the-art technology. In the concert, there was a hologram of the late rapper performing in front of a floored crowd. Snoop wore some old school attire to remember the good old days from the 90s. But fans had never really had a chance to hear about the moment when Snoop Dogg got to say his actual final goodbyes to the legendary rapper when he was on the verge of death. In fact, Snoop did get to see him one last time in an unresponsive state with tubes coming out of his body. During an episode of Impulsive with Logan Paul, the veteran rapper got to talk about those final moments on how Tupac's mother encouraged him to be strong. Suge got shot in the head. He was sitting up here talking to us, Snoop Dogg explained. When we drive to Vegas to see Pac, we got to Suge house first, so we haven't even seen Tupac. We just talking to Suge, and he got the head wrapped up and he telling us what happened. At the time of Tupac's hospitalization, he and Snoop weren't on the best of terms due to personal drama, but the late rapper's mother urged him to put their differences aside and support his friend. She knew there was a little tension, but she knew how much we loved each other, Snoop Dogg explained. So she gave us a moment for me to say some things to him as far as how much I love him. But I knew that was going to be my last time speaking with him. Snoop Dogg made a huge power play when he purchased the infamous Death Row Records in 2022. Friends and fans were very congratulatory toward the Dogfather, and there was a lot of interest in wondering what new ideas he would bring to the infamous label. One of those ideas was a hint about a collaboration with former foe Bad Boy Records. Snoop dropped a short film to coincide with his studio album Back on Death Row, and there's a part in the movie where the West Coast legend got a FaceTime call with Diddy. The Bad Boy Records founder gave Snoop a round of applause for purchasing Death Row while praising him with some positive words. "Congratulations, King. Great move, Diddy said before Snoop replied, "You taught me how to play chess, not checkers." Diddy called Snoop Dogg one of his greatest students and told him he couldn't wait to have a sit-down to hear everything new that might be in store for Death Row. Snoop added that he appreciated all the time they spent talking about ownership and making major plays before hinting at a future Bad Boy Death Row Records collaboration. "Now we can do what we want to do, Death Row and Bad Boy. We've been doing it," Snoop Dogg said. "Come on, Puff. I'm going to put it in the air. Quit playing with me. I'm going to put it in the air. We left hanging." If Diddy and Snoop managed to get an official collaboration done between the two labels, it would be a history-making moment. The beef between Bad Boy Records and Death Row Records changed hip-hop forever, as it pitted the West Coast and East Coast against each other. Tupac and the notorious B.I.G. would lose their lives due to the East Coast-West Coast feud, and their deaths still reverberate widely to this day. Do you think Snoop Dogg was really involved in the death of Tupac?